evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to the Flatout Racing Network's coverage of race number 7 of the 64th season of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series. We are literally on the eve of the playoffs. 2 more races left in this regular season for drivers to either win or point their way into the postseason. And we have the penultimate race here this evening at Talladega Super Speedway. I'm Seth Cole alongside of Michael Norman, Kyle Matthews, and gentlemen, we've seen some incredible racing, even just go back to last week. Another photo finish, another new driver going to victory lane, and there was an interesting statistic in the pre-race post this afternoon, the fact that 9th through 21st are separated by only 20 points. This is about the closest that a gap like that has been leading into the home stretch of the regular season. Those final potential spots there of getting into the top 12 in points are definitely still up for grabs.
Great talk, guys. No, it's going to be one to watch, Seth, honestly. I can't wait for this race to get started. The points are just so close, and you know, any bad race from the top 20 could potentially put them out of the top 20 and if they have a win, make that win not eligible.
And I feel like with the points being as close as they are, with this being the last race before the playoffs, I think aggression is going to be at an all-time high tonight. I expect a lot of carnage, to be perfectly honest.
We'll have to wait and see what's in store. We have a total of 39 drivers going to take the green flag here tonight. First time all season that no drivers have had to be turned away in knockout qualifying. So, fortunately, everybody that showed up tonight is going to be able to participate. But still, 39 drivers, that's a lot of points on the table. We saw last week Donnie Garrett go to victory lane for the first time this season. Right now, he, along with Schilling, Wesley, our 2-time winning defending champion Tim Nofsker, and Bob Dixon, they are all still in the top 20 in points. Their wins still currently count towards a playoff spot, and we'll bring you up to speed on the drivers to watch that are currently in points-paying playoff positions at this point in time. But your lineup tonight's going to look like this. Keith Bynum going to draw the long straw, as he will have the inside of the front row. He's going to be alongside of Rodney Sullins. Joe DeSpirito going to make up row number 2 with Bobby Farrell. Tim Nofsker, 2-time winner on the seasons, back in row number 3 with Jason Scheck. Row 4 going to find Robert Breedlove and Doug Hulick. And then the top 10 completed by John Godfrey and Craig Hagley. Row 6 is where we find Cy Jones, and Chris Emery makes his return into the field tonight. Row 7, Ron Hagelin and Josh Metallic. Kelly Causey, he's going to be back in row 8 with the former winner of the season, Bob Dixon. Row 9 finds Terry Bombard and Graham McDonald, and your top 20 will be completed by Bob Seminara and Chuck McClure. Row 11, we find Dennis McCarthy alongside of Randy Waugh.
Luigi.
There's the first one of the night. Row 12 is going to be last week's winner, Donnie Garrett. He'll share that row with Greg Palmer. Row 13, he came up just short last week. He's had 2 runner-up finishes so far this season. That's Ulysses Sandoval alongside of Brian Schilling, a former winner on the season. Bernie Mobb is going to be back in row 14 alongside of Glenn Harris. And then your top 30 completed with Mark Paglia and Richard Martin. Mike Mangialardi is going to make up row number 16 with Billy Elliser. Jeremy Jeffries will be back in row 17 with Pat McCarskey. Jessica Shelton, Grant Wesley, they're going to be back in row 18. Row 19 finds Jeff Crivello and Dunn LaPrade. And bringing up the 39th and final spot in the grid is going to be Brian Rawson. The last time we were here at Talladega Superspeedway a couple of weeks ago, we saw the driver that took the race-ending caution not win the race. Kelly Causey ran out of fuel with 2 laps to go. Brian Schilling inherited the eventual checkered flag. Could we see another race that comes down to the wire on fuel strategy? We'll have to wait and see. 66 laps sit in front of these drivers here. 2 races left to go before the playoff grid is put together. Who's going to make a last-ditch effort for a last-minute win? We'll find out as the green flag waves at Dega.
TV2.
We'll get there eventually.
Will we?
Like
the Gren, it's the Gren flag.
I think Bynum's going to get the advantage there on the inside.
Michael open up a cold one here at the green flag. What's the green flag presented by, Michael?
Root beer.
Root beer. Okay. By the way, I never had a single one when I was down there at your house.
Yeah, because I didn't have any, and then
Wait.
lo and behold,
You
after
said you
leave-
had some before I came down, and then we never had any.
and then because we were never home long enough.
Well, that's a fair point too.
But no,
Never
and
had
then-
popcorn,
Outside,
never had root
dead
beer.
even here coming to the line.
Kyle's the only professional one right now.
And then
Give
right
it- I
after
think
you
the
It's like,
left,
by the way, guys, there's a race going on.
Yeah.
and then right after you left, my mom ordered 2 more 12 packs.
Oh wow.
I don't drink root beer, so I thought I'd call the race and say.
Okay, that's fair. Ooh, near contact right there. Off of turn 2, that inside line gets tight on corner exit, and you see the shift of momentum. That little slip up going to allow that middle line to pull ahead. Sullivan's clear. Farrell trying to clear into second.
Let's keep an eye on some of the guys that are in the top 10 in points right now. We may only be 2 laps into this race, but I want to see where some of them started.
Yeah, you got, if you're looking around that cut line, Jeremy Jeffries started deep in the field. He came
And
in
he
this
almost
race
didn't make
8th.
it.
He almost didn't. It was close. Greg Palmer, he's 9th in the standings. Mike Mangialardi's put together a career year. This has been the best he's looked in a long time. He currently sits 10th in overall standings. Rodney Sullins, who's starting the outside of the front row, currently leading. He was 11th in points. Mark Paglia, 12th. And then if you're looking at some drivers just outside that cut line looking in, you got Terry Bombard, former champion, and Josh Metallic. Dunn LaPrade, Denny Carroll, Glenn Harris, Kelly Causey. They've all still got a shot, not even to just win their way in, but point their way in here in the next 2 weeks. And of course, as well, the criteria to get into the postseason. You don't have to win. As long as you're in the top 12 in overall standings at the conclusion of the regular season, you are locked into the playoffs on points. You can win your way into the postseason, and the win counts as long as you stay in the top 20 in overall standings. So, we're talking about drivers right now between 10th through 15th, 16th, 17th, you got to look down below the 20th position in the standings as well, because a driver down there, if they win, accumulate enough points to jump up above that 20th in the standings cut line, they're in the conversation for a playoff position. You got big names down there like Bob Seminara, Doug Hewlick, Brian Rawson, Richard Martin, a former champ, John Godfrey. A lot of opportunities still available for drivers to be able in these next 2 races to still be eligible to battle for the Season 64 championship.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see exactly how long and how far it's going to go.
It's like we have 3 lines now. They tried to get something going on the outside. It was working for a little bit there, but it looks like that outside line's kind of falling back.
Broke up for sure. The 3 wide mid-pack, but the 3 wide at the front, it dispersed pretty quickly. That's Breedlove up there on the top.
One of the cars on the outside there, the 00 Kelly Causey, that's a car I'm going to be looking at. As you mentioned, last time we were here at Talladega, he dominated this race and ran out of fuel 2 laps to go under caution. I got to believe he's got to have some redemption on the mind here.
It's looking like he was going to finish P1, and he finished, if I recall correctly, outside the top 20 in that race.
He finished P1. Add 20.
Yeah. There is Tim Nofsker. He is currently in unofficially the 6th position, but he's about to have a challenge there in just a moment. From that 3rd line, Nofsker, defending champion of the series, came out swinging at the beginning of the year, racked up 2 wins very early on to be able to be back in the hunt, to be a back-to-back champion. It's been a while since we've had a back-to-back champion. Last driver to do that was Grant Wesley. And I don't recall off the top of my head what the seasons were. It might have been seasons 57 to 58.
I think I've come up with a nickname for Grant Wesley.
Uh-oh.
Grant Weasley.
I don't think Grant is a redhead, so that wouldn't actually work.
No, it still sounds kind of just like it.
Caution's out.
Got spin in the
There's
back.
trouble in the back. Yep.
Caution. Oh, a couple cars
Jeremy
around.
Jeffries is one of them.
Jeff Crivello, the other one. So
talk about almost not making it.
Doesn't look like either driver. Well, there's some back end damage on the Monster Energy Ford.
You mean a Chevy Camry?
No, it's a Ford.
Yeah, it's a Chevy. I'm kidding.
Doug Kulik was the leader here under the yellow. Both those drivers there, Jeffries and Crivello, started this race at the back. Jeffries started 33rd, Crivello 37th, and pretty sure they were still at the back when they had the contact that led to this incident. As we'll go back, take a look at what exactly happened. That's one of those drivers that is inside the top 10 in the points. Jeremy Jeffries can't really afford to have a bad outing.
Looks like he thought he was clear of the 36 and just the two got together.
We accidentally cut the replay a little early there. And I want to go back and look at something here because it almost looks like something happened prior to him coming across the nose of the 36. Watch right here. We're going to play it a little bit earlier, and watch here through the center of 1 and 2. That car just... Oh, okay, so there was a checkup on the bottom. The 9 had a checkup for the 28, and I think the 28 had a checkup. There's a lot of checkup on that inside line, so that's why the 1 darted out. I wondered for a brief moment there, the way that it shot up to the right, if maybe he was having a hardware issue or something, but it was just a massive stack up on the inside line.
Don't see a lot of damage to 36 car, so I think he might be okay.
So Jeremy Jeffries comes down pit road, as do a whole host of others.
Jessica says, Kyle, that wreck was your fault.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean,
you said you were gonna cause a big.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Michael said
well,
before we came on the air, he's like, "Who's gonna cause the big one tonight?" And Kyle just says, "Me." So, if that's the big one, then
I haven't had a commentator's curse yet. So
you haven't, no.
Tonight.
So Jason Scheck, he'll stay out, lead a lap. Looks like all but 5 drivers came to pit road here under this very early yellow. We'll see if any of the 5 drivers that stayed out will actually stay out here for the upcoming restart, or if they're just trying to snag that bonus point in the early going and eventually dive onto pit road before we go green. If that is the case, then I believe the first driver off of pit road was Keith Bynum, by virtue of having that number 1 pit stall in the random qualifying draw, getting the pole position. Look at our YouTube chat. Al Sullen's joining us here tonight. Good to see you, Al. He says, for a change, starting up front, keep it there, Dad's orders. And he also says to come on down to Bama and he'll show me a full fridge. So you've got competition there, Michael, as far as providing me with beverage.
Can't believe you didn't provide anything for Seth when he was down there, Michael. Come on, what kind of host are you?
He took me to Raising Cane's, so.
Okay, well that makes up for it.
Yeah, we went to Raising Cane's after one of the races.
And hot take, but it was good. I like Popeye's chicken sandwich a little bit better.
I've not had Popeyes, and we have one in this area.
Got to give it a try. So we saw a trio of the 5 drivers that stayed out come to pit road this time. Scheck and Bombard are going to actually stay out, especially the 13 not coming to pit road that lap around. It says to me he's going to stay out the duration of this caution period, and he will be our race leader on the upcoming restart. Jury's out whether Terry Bombard will do the same or not, but if he does, that's going to be our front row. And I'm also noticing back here, Bynum is up on the top. Maybe they're just straddling the lanes here right at the moment while they're clutching. Pretty sure, yeah, Bynum is scored in 3rd, so he'd be on the inside of row 2 with Joe DeSpirito in 4th and Robert Breedlove in the 5th position. It's interesting because, Michael, I think you and I were talking about this beginning of this week about the fact that there's a lot of drivers, a lot of big-name drivers that have not yet found victory lane this season. Joe DeSpirito being one of them, multi-time champion. Bob Seminara as well. We just saw Jeremy Jeffries involved in that incident, bringing out this first yellow. He's a former champion that hasn't gone to victory lane. Demar hasn't gone to victory lane. I mean, there's a lot of drivers. Chuck McClure, he's had a great season. He's 4th in overall points, but he's yet to find victory lane. A lot of drivers that we're typically used to seeing go to victory lane at least one time during the course of a season, right now they're in the conversation for playoff spots, but they're having to do it on consistency rather than on checkered flags. Let's bring you up to speed as well. We got the Challenge Bracket Series going on as well. We are in the final 4 on the winner's side of the bracket. We'll go into the semifinals next week.
Are you the semifinals?
I'm not in the semifinals. I didn't even make the cut for the top 32. As looks like our 2 leaders are actually going to come down pit road. So Bynum will be the race leader here on the upcoming restart. But how about this? You got Ulysses Sandoval taking on Mike Mangialardi. This is the furthest either of those 2 drivers have ever made it in the bracket challenge. Highest finisher of those 2 will go on to face the winner of last week's winner, Donnie Garrett, and a former winner on the season, Brian Schilling. Those 2 going to face off. That's the 8 seed versus the 13 seed on one side, and the 10 seed versus the 3 seed on the other side. Winner of those 2 will go on to face each other to see who's going to be standing alone as the champion of the winner's side of the bracket, and then that particular person will wait to see who ends up winning the championship on the loser's side of the bracket, and they will face off in at least 1, potentially 2, of the final races of the season for the overall bracket challenge championship.
So there will be a winner on the losers side.
That's correct. It's kind of like a second chance, like a second opportunity. I'm trying to remember who it was last year. Jess ended up winning the winner's side of the bracket.
Yep.
And I'm trying to recall who it was that won the loser's side of the bracket.
I don't remember.
I don't either. I can actually look real quickly and see.
Well, how about you do that?
I do. Yes, I will do that while you patch your voice crack there. I don't rightly remember who it was, but I do know that it only took the one race for Jess to be able to win the championship in the race before the season finale. If the winner of the winner's side of the bracket loses to the winner of the loser's side of the bracket in the first matchup, they then get a rematch in the season finale. And let's see, that driver was Josh Metallic. Okay, I was wondering if it was either Joe DeSpirito or Josh Metallic. It was indeed Josh Metallic, who ended up being the winner of the loser's side of the bracket that went on to face Jess for the Ultimate Championship. And Jess ended up winning the whole thing.
Your face won the whole thing.
My face has not won anything since 1962.
Wow.
Dang.
Speaking of 62, 63 out in front. Green flag back in the air, and I saw a stack up there on that inside line as well. I don't know who didn't necessarily get going, but Nofsker went back into Seminara, who went back into Hewlett, and you could just see the gap it's opened up there through 1 and 2.
Makes you wonder, is there any damage on the 088 there?
I don't know.
That's crazy.
It's going to give the 24 the lead.
I'm almost wondering, too...
Oh, no, is that Jeff Gordon? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm almost wondering, too, if the 088 might have missed a shift. I know that obviously there was some stack up there, so that'll stifle your momentum to get up to speed, but it almost looked like it took him a little bit of time to be able to get up there, too, like almost half a lap. So I don't know if maybe he might have missed a shift.
It's very possible, and, you know, we all know how missing a shift works, and we have two friends that tend to do it a lot. Actually, we have two friends that tend to never get a good restart. One of them always ends up watching. Actually, they both end up watching. So I kind of hope they're both in the chat right now. You guys
Now, are they on manual transmission or automatic transmission?
One is on manual. The other, I do believe, is on automatic.
Are we talking about the ones that I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. They get the Jeff
the
Gordon
tall
restarts.
one's on automatic.
And the mermaid one.
And the merman.
The merman. The guy who thinks he's a merman because he paints all the mermaids on his cars.
There is that 00 you were talking about, keeping an eye on there. Kyle Kelly Causey out for some revenge from the last time we were here, and look who's creeping up there in the 6th position.
Another guy looking for some redemption, coming up here twice this season, just missing out on a victory, including last week at Burnt Screwdriver, Ulysses Sandoval.
Finished runner-up last week to Garrett, runner-up earlier on the season to Grant Wesley. Literally both races came down to just about half a car length short, but this has been a career year for Sandoval. Talked about he's in the hunt for the Bracket Challenge Championship. He also comes into this race currently sitting 5th in overall points. As a matter of fact, I believe he is in a pretty good position to, if he has a good run tonight, maybe lock himself into the top 12 in the points and clinch a playoff spot even as early as this evening. Because as I'm looking at his gap right now to the 12th position in points, he's 33 points ahead of said cut line. We've had full fields here. If he can get himself around 40 points ahead of said cut line by the end of the night, don't think mathematically there's really a chance that he could fall outside of the top 12.
He's having a solid run right now, currently being shown in the 6th position. So you have a bit of a single file line here. First side-by-side battle is around 15th or so.
That's the pole sitter Bynum trying to get something going. Hewlick. Looked like he was shading to make a third line there. Palmer uncertain whether he wanted to go with him or not. They're trying something further back with Mangialardi, Harris, Shelton, McClure. That's back outside the top 20. And now here's Breedlove trying to make something happen on his own. He had a run, he's just got no help down there.
Your run can go for so long until it just stops.
It'll last through the corner, but you get to that straightaway and it's like you hit a wall of air.
Oh, yeah.
Then you look in your rearview mirror and there's absolutely nobody behind you. That is a helpless feeling right there.
Yes, it is. There's Grant Wesley in the 88. Something that we'll talk a little bit more about next week for sure is the 15 bonus points that are going to get paid out to the driver that wins the regular season championship. That's going to be huge in helping a driver in their hopes of advancing into the next round of the playoffs. And right now, it's really currently a 2-horse show with Brian Schilling, Tim Knopfsker, 10-point separation. Wesley's third in points, but he's 43 points back. He needs the 088 and the 4 to run into some trouble here tonight to be up in the conversation, at least a little bit closer for next week. Other couple of drivers as well that could fit that moniker: Chuck McClure, Ulysses Sandoval, and Craig Hagley, who, by the way, putting together another solid night as he's holding down the 5th position. Craig, he's been very quiet this season. I feel like we haven't given him a whole lot of his dues, but he's got 4 top 10 finishes in these first 6 races, and that has him 6th in overall points. So, while quiet is good because it means you've kept the car out of trouble, at the same time, I feel like got to give this guy some props because we talk about getting those wins is important, but a lot of drivers put emphasis on consistency, and that's exactly what he's been able to do here in Season 64.
Never argue with consistency. That's what's going to keep you in the picture all season.
It's in fact, it's consistency that did away with our traditional style of racing.
Yeah. And you consider it, too. Think of the type of series this is. Super Speedway series. I mean, maybe the most unpredictable type of racing. You can get caught up in incidents that are no fault of your own. The fact that you're able to, put together a consistent run week after week after week after week, and, some of it is skill, some of it is luck-based, but still, this type of a series, when you're able to be consistent, that's quite a goal. That's quite a goal to be able to accomplish. And dare I say it, I've been talking about it all season long, and I feel at some point I'm going to get blamed for the streak ending. Brian Schilling comes into tonight 6 for 6 in finishing in the top 5 so far this season. 6 top 5s, 6 top 10s, and a trip to victory lane. Right now, he's back in 31st place, but I don't think he'll stay there for very long when we get closer to the end of this race.
I was actually thinking about the same thing there, so...
So
we know.
I should have waited a little longer and let you put the commentator curse rather than me.
Yeah, Seth, good job. But yeah, I mean, I won't. It's not going to take long for him to get up there. We've seen the single file racing up at the front here, and we're I want to say maybe 5 laps or so away from green flag pit stops.
Yeah, we went back green. I think it was on lap 11.
Was it 11?
I think.
Schilling also won here the last time we were at Talladega, so keep that in mind.
That's true.
Yep, won on that fuel strategy call in the closing stages under pacing. Joe DeSpirito in this 24, there's been a couple of weeks that he has not actually been in the field. And because of that, he finds himself 37th in overall points. Let me see if I can do some quick math here, see if he even mathematically, even if he were to win tonight, could accumulate enough points to get up into the top 20. Right now, I've got him a total of 67 points below the cut line. I don't know necessarily, but that almost says to me he'd have to win out the rest of this regular season in order to have a shot of racing for the playoffs. But if you think about it too, maybe there is no mathematical eligibility for him to be able to do so, and that takes some pressure off of him to be a little bit more aggressive here tonight to try and get this victory.
Yeah, I really got nothing to lose at this point, so why not try something? And they're trying something on that bottom line. The 92 car is kind of not really sure if he wants to go down there in front of him or not there, in front of the 712 of Seminara.
You guys want to hear a very interesting story? One time, one time when I was showering, I accidentally used the dog shampoo. Now I'm feeling such a good boy.
Okay.
Wow.
And somehow with that joke, we just went from 18 people viewing to 20 people viewing. Okay, Michael, more bad jokes. Everyone's showing up for the Michael's dad jokes.
I thought you were going to say that we lost some people.
Yeah, I looked at it expecting to see it decrease. I was quite surprised to see an increase.
With today's gasoline prices, more and more men are depending on their wife's vehicle since a picture of them flying on a broom.
Wow.
Ulysses Sandoval now leading that inside line.
Whoa, Randy Waugh!
Trouble.
Luigi!
Into the inside wall. I don't think.
No
Yep,
caution.
You see back there, there's no caution.
Single car incident. That's a tough break for Randy Waugh. He was in contention to win last week at a burnt screwdriver. I think he was leading on maybe the final
if he doesn't
restart.
get going, the 143 will cause a yellow.
Just got eaten alive there. We saw Bob Dixon back there as well, and now Causey had a look to the outside.
Let's make sure
place.
he's going because the 143 was approaching, and okay, I was going to make sure
he's
because that would have called us.
Oh, now the yellow's
And now
out.
the caution's out.
Did anything happen here, or was that what you were referring to? Oh no, Jeremy's gone around.
Jeffries again, a second incident for him tonight.
And Dennis McCarthy in the 024 also involved.
He's revving his engine like something is happening to
He's
his car.
in fourth gear, but tires aren't moving. Oh, there you go. Now he's got it.
Safe. You might want to
He
down.
might have been clicked out of his game.
So caution out. We would have been approaching, I would think, green flag pit stops. And this caution's kind of interesting because this would, if we had gone green from the start, we would have already made a pit stop and been about, what, 3-4 laps into the second run. So this pushes the upcoming second pit stop back a bit, making things very close, down to about maybe 4 or 5 to go that would be left when making the final pit stop of the night. Let's take a look and see what happened to Jeremy.
Well, this caution's a good break for Randy Waugh.
Yeah, actually,
he might be in trouble.
Good point. Let's find out what
but
happened to the 21 first. And I'm not sure how Bob Dixon had lost all that ground either. But here's what happened to the 21 of Randy Waugh.
Luigi.
Stack up here. Yep. 22 of Greg Palmer, just a little too close on the back bumper of Randy Waugh through the tri-oval. It's a pretty good shot to the inside wall as well. Passenger side. Michael can get excited because we're going to TV2.
TV2.
Either a little bump there from Palmer or maybe a little bumper grab off the 712. But then, what happens with Jeremy Jeffries, who was, again, kind of running back towards the rear of the field? Oh!
something happened with that 024 car.
Yes, it did. Maybe a game freeze or something?
Yeah,
Or did he downshift?
No, remember when I said that it looked like he had clicked out of his game? It's possible that it could have done that.
Jeremy, no time to react. Now, not all the time when we're looking from the spectator point of view does it give us an accurate reading on what gear these drivers are in, but let's watch.
Ulysses, there's never a bad time to say Luigi when someone says Randy Waugh.
That is true. Let's watch the telemetry here on the 024, and right there, yeah, he's still in 4th gear, according to what we're seeing, so, yeah, either game froze or clicked out.
Hey,
you just see the thing rubbing. It could have maybe been a pedal disconnect as well.
Possible too. Hey, here's a question for Kyle.
Okay.
Josh got paid $95,000. He gave his lady $94,500. What is Josh?
Do what now?
Josh got paid $95,000. He gave his lady $94,500. What is Josh?
Married?
Happily married.
Al says, dog shampoo over my
I know,
head?
that's why I was keep going.
And Milt says, should have kept that one in the doghouse, Michael.
Yep.
Good to see Milt in our chat. Milt, we're going to be waiting on you with about 10 to go. We got to know the Who You Got Surratt pick.
I don't usually brag about going to expensive places, but I just left a gas station.
Did you buy any eggs while you were at it?
No, but I paid a 50-cent surcharge at Waffle House.
Per egg.
Per egg. I was going to bring up just before we had that caution, we do have one driver out of the race, that being Jeff Crivello. He was involved in that first yellow flag on the back straightaway with Jeremy Jeffries. He's the only driver out of the race. Our remaining 38 drivers, all still running, and all still on the lead lap. Kyle, you brought up that caution. Big break there for Randy Waugh,
Luigi.
as well as Bob Dixon. They'll be able to be caught up here now to the tail end of the field.
Hey, Seth.
Hey, Michael.
Here's some Yoda wisdom for you, okay?
Okay.
When people call you from a private number, respect their privacy. Don't answer.
I
do
agree.
that all the time.
Yeah, I do too. I don't answer, and then I delete their number from my phone.
In fact, there are times when I do recognize the number and I still don't answer the phone.
A reminder for everybody, next week, we'll have the regular season finale. We'll be putting the playoff grid together. The Talladega Challenge admins always really good at making sure that we already have the points calculated and able to tell you different storylines and scenarios heading into the following week. We definitely look forward to seeing what the playoff grid is going to look like. I remember that there was one season we ended up having a 3-way tie for the 12th and final position. And so ultimately, at the end of the regular season, we ended up having 15 drivers in the playoff system. That's how close things can get here during the regular season as far as super speedway points. So we may see a scenario like that. And the last couple of weeks, we have seen some really incredible and uniquely competitive racing at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. And that's where everything's going to be settled out here this season. The championship's going to ultimately be decided. All the elimination races are going to be at that venue. And of course, next week, the playoff grid's going to be put together. And that'll be next Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And hey, join us 24 hours prior to that. Wednesday night, we're going to be bringing you coverage of the Esports Oval League. The Grind Cup Series is, boy, you're going to have to be technical because they're taking on the worn-out surface of Legacy Atlanta. That should be a good one. And so far, we've had 4 races and 4 different drivers have gone to victory lane. Toyota currently with 2 wins over Chevy's 1 and Ford's 1. We'll see if the Blue Ovals or the bow ties can battle back.
Was Scott Rankin one of them?
He was not. Though I will say, what was it, 2 weeks ago, when we covered the race at Auto Club, he was driving and broadcasting, and he almost won that thing. Fuel strategy bit him, but he almost was able to pull out the victory.
Here's another under the caution joke for you guys. She left a note on the refrigerator saying, "This isn't working, goodbye." I opened it and it worked just fine.
The letter?
Why was she lying then about the...
Exactly.
Wait, say that again?
She left a note on the refrigerator saying, "This isn't working, goodbye." I opened it and it works just fine.
Yeah, the letter.
No,
not the refrigerator.
The refrigerator.
No, he's talking about the letter, opening the letter.
It's a picture of a guy opening the refrigerator.
Why? Okay.
Jeez.
If you understood Michael's joke, be sure to give this broadcast a like.
Oh, we're about ready to go back green. Thank God.
Yes, we are.
Listen, the green flag won't stop me.
Don't stop me now, cause I'm telling lots of dad jokes. Rodney Sullins in that Chevy Nova. Going to put us back under the green. Joe DeSpirito, who has led the most laps so far here tonight. Going to line up in second. Bobby Farrell, Kelly Causey, Ulysses Sandoval, your top 5. Ooh, and somebody did not get going back there. Saw a couple of drivers jump up to that third lane.
Ulysses Sandoval.
Ulysses Daytona Beach. That's a sandy oval. Whoa! Little errant bump there from Nofsker to Breedlove. Nofsker lets the 931 back in.
Someone's getting a nice bump there from the 92. He's going to inch ahead here. And now he moves to the outside. Get the 24 behind him.
Rodney had a very rocky start to the season, was struggling to get up into the top 20 in points. But 2 out of the last 3 weeks, he's finished up on the podium. And now he finds himself 11th in the standings, above the 12th in points cut line, and looking to climb even further to lock himself into a playoff position. There's the powder blue 92 of Bobby Farrell there to the inside. Ooh, that's close. Whoa. Wow.
Oh boy, at the very front of the field, that could have been disastrous right
yes,
there.
Yes, it could have.
Stacked up both lanes, and here comes the third lane.
Nofsker, Seminara, and others. I was going to mention there with Bobby Farrell. Actually, there's a couple of drivers up here. Farrell, Ulysses Sandoval, Robert Breedlove. Kyle, the first time you joined us in the booth here for this series, we saw a driver get their first win in the series in Bob Dixon. A couple of candidates up here also looking for their first career checkered flag in the series.
One of them's been close a couple of times. That's the third car in line right there. Ulysses Sandoval.
Every time, the last couple times he's been two out of the last 3 times, I believe. Side by side until
Oh
oh,
no! Never.
oh, come on, Ulysses, no. We were
No
just talking about
caution.
you.
I saw that stack up there, and I wondered if we were going to see some bumper grab. Kyle, we're putting that down as the commentator's curse.
Yeah,
Your very first one. Congratulations. No yellow. I don't think he hit anything, but now he's going to be banking on a caution to catch back up, and that stalled the momentum of the inside line, but more so that middle lane.
Oops, ignore me.
That's now the two-time winner, the defending champion Tim Nofsker, going to edge out ahead at the front of the field. Closing in on halfway through already.
Did you hear that crowd chanting as they went by the front straightaway?
I did. I don't know what they were chanting, though.
They weren't chanting. They were cheering.
Oh, okay.
Tim Nofsker took the... Oh, okay. But Tim
Contact back
Nofsker
there.
took the lead. All right, Seth. Tell me. We're halfway through. Who you got?
Who do I got?
Who do you have your eyes on? Let's not pick somebody particularly, but let's just say, who do you have your eyes on?
Well, we're in the second half, and he's now up in the top 10. Got to go with Brian Schilling, trying to keep that top 5 streak going.
That's true. Yep, right there.
Fourth car in that middle line.
I got my eyes on Grant Wesley. 5th car on the inside lane down there.
I don't even see him. Okay, there he is.
He's driving a Gatorade car. How could you not see him?
Oh, Kyle, don't worry. You joined our commentary crew at the right time, because there was a point where he's on the field tonight, but there was a point where Grant Wesley and Ken Roberts had similar looking cars, and I couldn't tell them apart outside of the number.
Oh boy.
They were getting
what a move
so
there by Bob
close right
Seminara. Jumped to the outside right in front of Kelly Cossey.
That was real close.
3 wide now around the second position. Farrell on the bottom. Nofsker trying to edge up the middle, and Biscuits leading the top line. You got Biscuits and Coach nose to tail leading the third groove. Well, Biscuits and Buckeye, I should actually say.
Why is it not Biscuits
not Buckeye,
and Gravy?
Buckshot.
Why is it not Biscuits and Gravy? And way to mess up that name.
Yeah. I don't think there's anybody in the field that's nicknamed Gravy.
Oh boy. Car right in the middle. I think it was Randy Waugh that made contact with somebody. That was
Ulysses Gravy Sandoval.
That's Cheeseburger.
Yeah, that's right. Whoa, there's smoke there in 3 and 4. What the heck?
Are they racing back to a caution?
No, we're still green. Who would that have been?
Caution? Wait, who was that in the very back? That was Sandoval.
That's Sandoval.
Right? Ulysses, and then
you got
Dixon
and Dixon here. There was definitely smoke lingering in turn 4, and I thought I saw some skid marks. It might have been a half-spin save.
Is there a cookout going on in the infield? I mean,
maybe.
Is there an actual cookout being built in the infield?
I mean, I've heard some stories about the Talladega infield. Anything is possible.
What do they call that? They don't call it the Midway. They've got a name for it. Is it the Boulevard?
Yes.
Whoa, look at this. Little move for the top position. Farrell saw enough room to squeeze a car down. No help, though, for the 92.
Billy Elliser was the one that had that was part of that whole skid marks in the side corner.
And Elliser still running up in this lead pack, if I'm not mistaken.
They said it was Billy Elliser and somebody else.
Oh, no, there he is. Maybe Pat McCarsky, who's also back here. Dennis McCarthy has lost the lead pack as well, so there's about half dozen drivers that would love to see a yellow to catch back up. And look who's up here. Look at this. Look at all the zeros lined up. 5 of them. The 000 and the 00. Mentioned about Chris Emery, a former winner of the series, making his return. We haven't seen him in quite a while.
Imagine a 000. Thank you, Mill. I appreciate it. I know you, Nick. I know nobody can ever understand my dad jokes.
Chris Emery in that Blue Angels 000. But done LaPrade. Mentioned he's one of those drivers just outside the 12th in the standings cut line, his first full-time season in the Talladega Challenge Series. Right now holding down the 3rd spot, and
He's quietly worked his way up there.
I think I just saw Ulysses Sandoval up ahead. I think they're about to lap
Yes, they
the
are.
96.
I have another joke I have to wait till the next caution for. No, Ulysses, this is a sad sight. The guy who's finished second in like 2 out of the last 3 races.
Well, the good news for him right now is he's going to be the only driver 1 lap down. 2 drivers, up to 2 drivers, get the free pass under a yellow flag, so he would be eligible for that at this point in time. Also saw Brian Schilling. He got stuck in the sucker hole. He started fading back, found a lane in front of Chuck McClure, but he was up around 6th, and he has since dropped back to around 14th as Grant Wesley on the charge.
Dives to the inside, the 88 with the 088 behind him. Where's the 880?
Greg's not in the field tonight.
Dad.
There was at a time a 08. And that was Glenn Harris back in the day, but he has since now moved over to just the 8. And he's just outside the top 10 there. Krispy Kreme machine. There you see him, right side of your screen. 2nd lane. Unofficially in the 16th position.
Can Grant keep the inside lane momentum? Now look at how close they get.
He just barely led that last lap.
So far, scoring has Rodney Sullins leading the most laps tonight at 15. Joe DeSpirito has led 11. And everybody else has led either 2 or 1 lap each that has taken a turn out in front, whether it be under green or under caution. We're under 10 laps away from when they're going to have to make a pit stop. We went back green on lap 28's completion. So about maybe 7 to 8 laps away from potential green flag pit stops here. That would be with a total of 18 laps to go. So they can, mathematically looks like, make it on just 1 more pit stop. But they will definitely have to take on 2 cans to make it the rest of the way. They can't strategize, try and gain some ground with a can and a half. They're going to have at least 18 to 19 laps of fuel put in the tank here, if indeed the pit stop is made under green. If we'd say have a caution prior to those pit stops, as there's a lot of movement there at the back, I don't think they'd be able to make it the rest of the way on fuel. They still would find themselves about 2 to 3, maybe even 4 laps short, depending on circumstances.
Well, I figured that these guys are just like, what, about 5 or so laps away, maybe. 20. When they go back green, about 27?
About 29 start, 28 completion.
Oh, boy.
Boy, Nofker and Wesley, they were both on the apron. At least one of them was on the apron. That could have been
Randy Waluigi on the outside.
He's leading that outside line. Got Jessica Shelton right behind him.
Keith Bynum going to jump up there, and he's going to get turned. Into Glenn Harris, into Cy Jones. Caution's going to come out.
And this is early for their window.
'63 of Keith Bynum, the 8 of Glenn Harris, who was on the inside line and got swept up. And I think a lot of that, when we go back and look at the replay, was maybe making the jump up there in front of a line that was moving a little too late.
Yeah, everyone was getting a little bit antsy right there. Everyone wanted to lead that outside line, and
let's watch the 63 of Keith Bynum. There's a bunch of drivers, though, that are loving to see this yellow because it brings them back into the conversation. So let's bring this back to the entry of the tri-oval. And watch right here, the momentum there on the top side. Bynum's going to move up. Look at the run the 21 has at this point in time, and he gets to the back bumper of the 63. They hadn't exited the tri-oval yet. So you're still turning the car to the left And even if you get a square
Oh.
bump, it's more than likely going to get that car out of shape, which was the case. If that bump had taken place maybe just 2-3 car lengths further up, probably would have been fine. Would have been square, and the wheel of the 63 would have been pointed straight.
Hey, we got a caution. I can now tell my joke.
No.
All right, here we go. For all of you
realize,
listening.
Mike, I'm just saying, you're setting a precedent where these drivers next week, they're just going to run single file to avoid having a caution so that way you can't tell any jokes.
Hey, that's not my fault. Anyways,
kind of is.
So Walmart is opening dental offices in some of its stores. There will be an express lane for people with 12 teeth or less.
Right.
A couple of hard hits there for the 63.
That was the 33 Graham McDonald that got into him. Well, we aren't sponsored or anything, but if we had ourselves like an Allstate Good Hands move of the race, I think the 4 of Brian Schilling might qualify for that. Watch this.
Why do you have to specifically say Allstate? Why can't you just say Good Hands driver?
Because like a good neighbor, Allstate is there. Just like this.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Hey, his top 5 streak is preserved. So
it is. Yeah, that's how he gets the top 5 streak. He avoids wrecks like that.
He may have seen his life, pass before his eyes right there, but man, he got through it.
So caution out on lap, I believe it was lap 42. If we went 20 laps from that, that's lap 62. We would have to go back green on lap 27, 47, 48.
They've got 23 laps to go. They're not gonna make it. It's gonna be really close.
It's
just gonna be. She said.
Yeah.
It's gonna be just like the last time we went to Talladega if we don't get another caution.
Yeah, she said it's gonna be really close.
I mean, right now we do have a lap machine, so we'll add another lap of pacing. But I'm thinking we're going back green around the completion of lap 46 onto 47. That's 20 to go. That's right on the window, and there's no way you're gonna make it if you're the leader for most of that run.
Well, this caution will put Ulysses Sandoval back on the lead lap. Just what he wanted to see.
Yep,
hey,
only car 1 lap down.
Yes.
I have the perfect thing for our commentator buddy Seth. This describes Seth to a T. It says, aging is like a garage sale. Some stuff looks old, some stuff doesn't work, and some stuff you can't even identify.
Joke's on you,
Wow.
I can identify everything at a garage sale. And that's the best part, when sometimes people don't know what they have. And by the way, I'm with you, Al. If I had the option, he says, joke, nap time. If I had the option, I would do the same thing. I don't know, Michael's got me very motivated to create a commercial package under yellow so that way we don't have to hear his jokes.
No, you'll still hear him, just nobody else will.
That is the commercial package. Hey guys, Michael here with a dad joke.
I thought we were trying to bring in viewers.
Listen, we've been at 18 this whole time. I told one dad joke, and now we're automatically up to 19.
Just do like a Lightning McQueen commercial. Yes, yes, yes. Michael Norman here with dad jokes. Have you ever wondered why your feet smell when they don't have a nose?
Thanks, Ed.
Eddie, I keep thinking, how can my feet smell if they don't have a nose?
Well, we saw that incredible move by Brian Schilling to split the gap with that wreck on the front straightaway, and he is going to be the race leader now. I'm not exactly certain. I would assume that everybody would have gone with 2 cans of fuel. Schilling had a pit stall back towards the entrance of pit road. He would have had the 27th pit stall, so pretty much right around the midway portion of pit road, but had the execution to be able to lead the field off of pit lane. Craig Hagley right now would be scored in second. Graham McDonald, who took a shot in that wreck there, got into Keith Bynum. Right now he's currently scored in third. Bob Dixon in fourth, and Rodney Sullins in the 5th position. I'm going to have to double check. The 482, 33, and 143 might not have yet come to pit road. And for Brian Schilling, it may be a case where he wanted that lap-led bonus point as he's in the fight with Tim Nofsker for the regular season championship. Nofsker in the 088 has led a lap here tonight. So Schilling just looking to counter that bonus point. We'll see if he comes to pit road here. I'm not 100% sold that he's yet hit pit lane.
Could have a lot to do with calculating laps.
Yeah, like I think we're going to see a lot of drivers coming to pit road here at the 1 to green, and that might have been what he was thinking. He's coming in. Who else is? Sullen stays out. Wesley stays out. Here comes some more. Is that Randy Waugh?
Luigi?
No, it's Kelly Causey. Shelton, Bombard, Paglia, McClure,
the question
Godfrey, Scheck.
Now the question is this going to give them enough to try to make it to the end?
If they're not leading, I think yes. Because we're going to be going green right on 20 to go. We know that's about the furthest they can go if they save a little. 19 is the median lap. 18 is the furthest you can go if you lead the majority, if not all, of the run. So I feel like those drivers that came down here at the 1 to green, if they spend maybe 2 or 3 laps just half throttling in the draft, I think they're good to go. Bit of a question mark about the drivers that didn't come down at the 1 to green here, and then whoever ends up leading a majority of this run, I feel like they can't make it at all. So for Rodney Sullins and Grant Wesley right now, they just got to hammer down, try and pace this field, and hope that maybe a caution comes out, they can keep their track position, clutch under pacing, and save that lap or two that they would more than likely be lacking, having provided the draft for everybody else. We're working only our 3rd caution of the evening. 38 drivers of our original 39 still running. Now all 38 on the lead lap, with Sandoval getting the lucky dog. Only driver out of the race, Jeff Crivello. So there's still upwards of 38 points on the table here. And a lot can change between now and the checkered flag. We've documented there's a lot of drivers that are trying to lock themselves in on points, trying to move their way up into the top 12 on points. Going to be a lot of moving pieces here at the conclusion of this one, and it'll make things interesting what the mathematical equations are going to be, the scenarios for drivers to try and clinch themselves a playoff spot in next week's regular season finale. We've yet really to see the big one strike here tonight as well. I think the most drivers we've had involved in an incident was about 5, 6
and now
drivers.
You said it.
I said it. But hey, I was going to jinx it anyway because I was going to say prior to that, if a caution comes out, everybody can make it on fuel. And not a good jump.
No, not at all.
For the 38, and he was the control car. Not sure if he started in the wrong gear or just wasn't ready for the green flag to fly. Grant got too good of a jump, and now look how that inside line's going to battle back, taking a while for Nofsker to get to the back bumper of Wesley.
I told you I was keeping an eye on that 88 car. We both know he's never too far from the front.
Nope. And we also know he's very good at keeping different lanes behind him, knowing where the momentum is, being able to block said momentum. The problem right now, though, for Grant is, with numbers being as close as they are on fuel, while he's got the car out in the clean air, he also is using up more fuel than everybody else behind him.
Or did Sullins not want to be out in front? Maybe he let the 88 go.
It's a good call.
He's still fighting for it on the inside, though.
We got a 3rd lane forming back there. That's Jeremy Jeffries and Chuck McClure. Now, those, I believe, are a few of the drivers that came to pit road at the 1 to green. They must feel that they have enough security where they can make it the rest of the scheduled distance, and they don't want to raid around mid-pack. They want to start moving their way to the front now. Mark Paglia, Kelly Causey also up there. I know they were on pit road at that 1 to green as well. And look at the momentum they've got up there. They're making some good ground. Now Donnie Garrett's going to jump up in front of that line, looking for 2 wins in a row. Is that 77? Got to make sure you time moving up in front of those lines perfectly, because if you don't, you can stall out all the momentum. Breedlove now jumping up there. He'll lead the 3rd lane down the back straightaway. 3 wide for 4th. Top 3 going to have some decisions to make here in a few moments. Ooh, they checked up in that 3rd line. Kept it together, though. The domino effect still occurring all the way back there to McCarthy and Terry Bombard. Now they'll try and get lined back up and move forward again.
Some of these guys just have a little bit of warp, and that's got to be making everybody nervous that's around them.
Bobby Farrell going the wrong way. Lonely man in that middle line. Whoa! Chris Emery, he's coming back up the track, and that's going to be the big one.
And you just had to freaking say it, didn't you?
Greg Palmer, Terry Bombard, Mike Mangialardi, Bob Dixon. We got one up and over. That is Ulysses Sandoval.
Well, these guys will be able to make it now.
Yeah, I was just about ready to say.
4th time tonight that the caution flag will fly. We did not yet hit 15 to go, so field is still frozen as they make their way back to the start-finish line. And immediately, Grant Wesley, you see that car bogged down as he throws in the clutch, making his way around to the pace car on the back straightaway. Sandoval had a late hit there from Chris Emery that sent him up and over. I believe that the 000 is actually already out of the race. We'll take a look at what happened. His car broke loose and unfortunately redirected back up into the pack, collecting up several drivers. Not as many as I expected with how close he was running up to the front, but certainly some hard hits. Here's a look.
Yep, a little bit of contact there from the 22.
Seminara went around for a little spin. And then watch right here is, yeah, the 000 kept coming up. Sandoval tried to shoot right between him and the outside wall, and unfortunately, he just got squeezed, and we saw that car go up and over.
Sandoval was going to have it safe. It was going to make it through. That wasn't for that.
We talked about how the cars on the inside line push up off the corner. That scrubs off speed, and right here, I think the 000 had that little bit of speed scrubbed off. Palmer was right on his back bumper. Contact ensues, and here's where Mangialardi clips the 143 of Bob Dixon. Scheck's able to avoid. And you saw on the top of your screen Ulysses Sandoval and his hit. Well, I don't know if there's anything that really can be classified as harmless when you're involved in a wreck at a super speedway, but I'm going to call this a harmless spin. Watch the 712 of Bob Seminara here, who was in the middle of this wreck.
Wow.
Gets a little assist from the 92 of Bobby Farrell. Says, I got you, buddy. Get it pointed straight. Keep going.
It's always nice to have a friend around.
And this is on board with the 096 of Ulysses Sandoval, who had just gotten back on the lead lap. And watch how quickly this hole closes up that he tries to take.
Oh. He was at the tail end of the pack. Looked like he did everything right. Looked like he was going to get through it.
He might have been okay. The roof never really hit the ground.
The tough thing for him as well was the 000 didn't hold the brake. Kept rolling. And it's very difficult to tell where a car is going to end up being when they're continually rolling. If he'd held the brake, I think Sandoval would have easily had a lane to be able to avoid that. Well, as you said, Kyle, we can make it now. They're going to be able to save anywhere from 2 to 3 laps here. Under pacing should get them the rest of the scheduled distance, should we even need to get that far. I mean, we've seen a couple of races here in the last few weeks and under yellow past that point of no return. So, you may not have a target lap of 66. You may be looking at lap 62, 63 to get to and have the race end under yellow. Just throw in the clutch and make it the rest of the way under pacing. No need for a free pass under this yellow. Everybody was on the lead lap. As mentioned, Chris Emery is out of the race. He'll join Jeff Crivello. That will leave us with 37 drivers still running.
Crivello DeVille?
Crivello. I think you made that pun last season, and I've never forgiven you for it. Ulysses in our chat said, did someone say something about me? If I have a bad race, I will fall back in points because I feel I got cursed. I don't think we talked about that, but Kyle did mention your name before your incident, so we're putting that as his debut of the commentator curse.
It was inevitable.
Yeah. We won't have you take credit for the most recent incident with Ulysses, but we will have you that one, because it was, what, like a lap after you mentioned his name?
Say his name and he won't appear, but he'll wreck, apparently.
If we say Joe Hendry's name and he appears in our 2003 race, I'm just walking away from the keyboard. So we should, I believe, get the lights out in the pace car this next time by, based on the fact that we do not have any lap machines. You can just see these cars kind of bog down into the asphalt and then pop right back up. That's when they throw in the clutch. When they let out the clutch and get back to the accelerator, car jumps back up in the air. A lot of hard saving going on here for these drivers up at the front of the field. They don't necessarily have to do that right now, because I think even just running in 4th gear under these pacing laps, they would be able to now make it the rest of the way, but they want that little bit of extra security just to make absolutely sure. We've got some interesting storylines up here, though, inside of the top 10. You got Grant Wesley trying to get back into that conversation for the regular season championship that gets decided next week. Also looking to join Tim Nofsker as a multi-time winner on the season. Rodney Sellens looking to get back to victory lane. He's been very consistent the last couple of weeks, couple of podium finishes, trying to build a gap between himself and that 12th in the standings cut line. Nofsker trying to stand alone with 3 victories on the season, coming off his championship season from season 63. Joe DeSpirito trying to get back to victory lane after he has struggled and missed some weeks here outside the top 25 in points. Robert Breedlove looking for his first career win. Josh Metallic, the former champion. Josh is trying to, I believe as well, get into the top 12 in points. Yes, he is. Don LaPrade looking for his first career win. Donnie Garrett looking for 2 in a row. And look who's up in the top 10 and 9th. He's had an adventurous first 15 to 20 laps, that being Jeremy Jeffries, caught up in the first 2 cautions, but he's now up in the top 10 with a shot at maybe winning this race. Chuck McClure, completion of the top 10, 4th in the point standings. Is Chuck, another driver, looking for his first win of the season. No lap machines, so our point of no return would be at the start of lap 63. Caution at that point would more than likely end the race. A bit of time before we get to that point, though, as Grant Wesley and Rodney Sullins going to be the front row to lead us back. Sullins, by the way, currently holds the bonus point for most laps led. He is the only other driver besides Joe DeSpirito that has led double-digit laps tonight. Rodney with 18, Joe with 14. Grant has led the next most as he's about to complete his 7th circuit out in front when he brings us back to the start-finish line.
I think Wesley's going to get the jump here.
Both cars, the respective lines, pulled out ahead of the cars behind them by quite a bit. Nofsker's going to be clear for 2nd place. And Wesley will cover the middle. I was wondering if Grant was going to move up there or not. Looked like Nofsker was trying to let him in, and I thought maybe even for a moment Nofsker had enough momentum he was going to think about taking it up to the high line, but for now he'll stay behind the Gatorade machine.
How long will it take, though? Can you keep him behind him, Seth? That's the question.
Rodney now clear for 3rd. Breedlove side by side for 4th with Despirito. Keep an eye in the back.
Look who's leading that outside line.
That's Schilling.
Now, again, is it going to be enough? Can they get up there?
They're going to have numbers, that's for sure, and they're going to have to keep the momentum going forward. More drivers will want to move up there, but they got to make sure they time it correctly. Don't stall out the run that the 3rd line has. Hewlett's going to jump up there. Brian Rawson. Bobby Farrell.
And the fork jumped to the inside on that one.
And he's got no help.
Schilling's top 5 streak is in trouble.
It's like Cossey's not leading that outside line. Jeremy Jeffrey stuck in the middle.
Absolutely no help for the Monster Energy Ford.
Who's got no rear end?
He's got a rear end. It just a little pushed in. Craig Hagley now going to move up there in front of Kelly Causey.
That was a risky move.
Might have slowed up that middle line a little bit. They didn't look like they had a lot of momentum down the back straightaway. They'll try and gain it back here through 3 and 4 and onto the front stretch.
That 3rd lane is dissipating. That's merging into the middle lane again. The 3rd lane is gone.
Oh. Paglia shading up. LaPrade as well. Everybody up ahead is all trying to cover that 3rd line.
Oh, I didn't even see Dunn in here.
Oh boy, they're 1783 getting close.
Oh, 931. I don't know why we're trying to door bang through the exit of the corner.
Nofsker looking for the lead up front.
And he's going to get it. Grant Wesley left alone, and it's going to get worse for Grant. Stuck in the middle, and he's going back. LaPrade also got put into the sucker hole. Here comes Despirito, looking to the top with Metallic. Ooh, whoa.
Now back to the bottom. Wow.
Metallic got a great bump, and that gave a
did.
great bump to Joe.
He got too good of a bump right there. You saw him have to lift a little bit because I don't think he had the bumpers lined up correctly with the 24.
Seth, look in the back. Someone might have wrecked. Jess is back there. Out of line.
No caution.
Might have been under the racing surface.
I didn't see any smoke lingering anywhere.
The way these guys are racing right now, that might be a safe spot.
It might very well be. Not quite yet to the point of no return, as inside line now trying to charge back with Despirito. He's to the left rear quarter panel of Metallic for 3rd.
I see some skid marks.
Whoa! Chuck out of line. I don't know if that was warp, if that was bumper grab, maybe a combination of both. And now the caution's out. Something I think just happened at the back. John Godfrey, Jeremy Jeffries again.
A 3rd time for the 1.
And this is going to get us a restart with a handful of laps left, and something's wrong
I
with
just
the
hit a
one?
whole bunch. I just hit the V button to try to go up vehicles and forgot I'm
How's that
not in the
working
game.
for you? I don't know if the one has some worn tires after the spin or what. Oh, and yeah, by the way, we're racing back because we were at less than 15 to go. Nofsker won that battle. Back to the line with Sullins, DeSpirito, Metallic, and Paglia. The top 5. So be a big break for number of drivers. Did we just have another wreck? 17 and the 77 are way back here. Shelton actually is ahead of them. Oh, there's damage on the 17. I think we had a wreck coming back to the start-finish line as well.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
And
We've had
we have
three
a couple of
incidents.
drivers out of the race as well that were not, to my knowledge, caught up in the wreck that brought the yellow out.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
Randy
We
Waugh.
definitely
it happened
did.
in front of them.
All right, so let's take a look first at what brought the yellow out initially. Oh, wow, we had
Couple
two
cars
pretty
dying.
big wrecks. Glenn Harris in the 8. Going to get some assistance from the 10 of Terry Bombard.
The 10 just drifted up the track for some reason.
Mike Mangialardi, John Godfrey, right side of your screen, up on his roof.
And we see that, but then further up.
Remember, Mangialardi as well is in the battle with Ulysses Sandoval in the bracket challenge. Sandoval had a flip earlier on, and now Mangialardi caught up in this one, so that'll make things interesting.
Yeah, it just drifts up for no reason.
Yeah, I don't know if... It almost looked like there was a moment with Makarski, and maybe Terry was reacting to that, and it slid him up that extra half groove. But then as all this is taking place, and they're
Something
racing back to the
happens in turn
start-finish
4.
line, I don't even know where we pinpoint the start of this one. Garrett, I think.
Let's look at right here, yeah.
77.
Right there.
got
Well,
turned by the
931 just
931.
pushing in the corner.
Dennis McCarthy up and over. Jason Scheck going to get a clobbering from, I think that was Bob Dixon, left side of the screen. We know Chuck McClure was involved in it. Craig Hagley, I think, got a piece as well in the 82.
Yeah, that's usually what happens when you bump in the corner.
Oh, man, that's a shot for Greg Palmer.
Look at the 6 just keeping.
Yeah. Do you have an exit, buddy?
And there's one more incident. See what happened to the 9 car. This is a couple laps before that.
And this did not bring out the yellow. This was in the trial on the front straightaway. Now, I've seen this a couple times this evening with stacking up on that inside line. Graham McDonald. And to the back of Jessica Shelton. And with the car as slow as it was right there, I'm surprised with the 63 and the 7 entering in that didn't bring out a yellow flag. We don't use this camera very often, but just because of what we saw taking place there through 3 and 4, we're going to go on board with Craig Hagley in the 82, and we're going to look at the left side of his race car. Here's where he's involved in the wreck. And then look at how long we're riding with the 6 of Brian Ross.
Everybody at Winn-Dixie is happy to see that.
Yeah. Big hit for the 22 of Greg Palmer. I don't know if our outside camera will survive. Let's see about his in-car camera, as he got hooked in the right rear and shot right up into the wall. Whoa, you see Dennis McCarthy. That almost kind of looked like the Daytona 500 where they had the onboard with Eric Jones and you saw Ryan Preece on the right side take flight.
I've always liked the in-car camera. It gives a real nice perspective, I think.
Definitely. Right, so now the question is, what type of a shootout are we looking at? I would say probably an in-regulation green-white checkered, but it's going to depend on if the lights go out in the pace car this time by. We do have 2 more drivers out of the race after what we saw. Jason Scheck has called it an evening. He will finish 36th. John Godfrey, also out of the race. He'll finish in 37th. So 4 drivers out of the race before we reach the conclusion at this point. 35 drivers still remain, but after what we saw right there, you gotta think a number of them are going to be off the pace, and they're just trying to soldier on, get whatever kind of a finish they possibly can before the conclusion. And Tim Nofsker is going to be the leader and the control car on this restart. Came into this season the defending champion, a lot of pressure to match what he was able to do 1 year ago. Started out the season with 2 trips to victory lane, the only multi-time winner on the season, and now looking for a season-leading 3rd victory, which you would have to think, based off of right now where Brian Schilling is running, would put Nofsker at the top of the point standings, and you put together 15 bonus points for winning the regular season championship, put an added 15 bonus points with 5 points each for his wins. That's a pretty healthy chunk he would have the number 1 seed by when the playoff points are put together.
Well, I mean, if you earn it, you earn it, right?
It's going to be a 2-lap shootout.
I agree. And I agree based on facts. 2-lap shootout. Green-white checkered, if you will. Let's see if we can make it back to the green flag. And
Which line's going to get the better restart?
I like how I said make it to the green flag. I meant to say make it to the white flag. You know,
I think we'll make it to the green flag. I think there's a pretty good chance of that. Unless somebody blows up and the caution comes out and we have to have the last 2 laps of pacing under caution.
Would you imagine?
Well, then that would be commentator's curse for you, for sure.
No, it wouldn't be you. You're the one who just said it.
You said if they can get back to the green flag. That's the only scenario that could happen where they wouldn't. We'll give the usual disclaimer that we always do. If a wreck occurs, if we end up not making it back to the white flag, then we will keep it with the front. We will watch the race back to the proverbial checkered flag. We'll do the same thing even if they do take the white to watch the race back to the completion of the final lap. Any necessary replays we'll look at post-race.
Any unnecessary replays.
Any unnecessary replays we'll look at as well. Define an unnecessary replay.
Yes.
Going back and watching to see if Nofsker actually took any tires the entire race.
Yep.
Okay. All right, here we go. Can we finish these final 2 laps under green, or at least make it back to the white to finish this thing under full song? Nofsker looking for his 3rd win of the season. Sullins looking for his 1st. You got to actually go all the way back to Grant Wesley in 10th to find another driver that has won previously this season.
On the 38, again, just doesn't get it.
Oh, we're wrecking in the back!
That's going to be it.
It's at the rear. It's at the rear. We're still green.
No yellow yet.
There were no oncoming cars. It was the last 3 drivers in the field, so we stay green.
Still green, still green.
One of those cars, by the way, was Jeremy Jeffries, who went up and over. It has been a tough night for the 1 car. As here comes DeSpirito with a push on the inside from Mark Paglia.
Mistake. We saw Nofsker move to the outside to get in front of the 38. That
and look at the 3rd lane. Look at the 3rd lane coming. Look who's leading it.
Grant
Wesley,
and
he's got help. Sullen's going to go up there. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead coming to the white flag. Momentum is not in the middle line. Here comes Sullins on the top. DeSpirito on the bottom. White flag in the air.
38, you've got to stay on that outside. Cannot give the 88 any room. He will take it.
Now Schilling leading the third lane. Sullins edges ahead through the middle. Big push on the top. 3 wide again for the lead, going into 3.
24 inching ahead, but right now, but
Which lane does he block here?
Block all 4 lanes.
Yep, he's going to have to figure out where the momentum is. Caution
Right now
is out, but we're racing back to the checkers. Nobody's going to get there.
Momentum.
24.
Joe DeSpirito going to go to victory lane. First time this season.
And the 43 got edged out for 3rd spot.
And I want to look and see when they cross the line, but I'm pretty sure. Come on, scoring. Update for me here. Schilling got 5th. The streak lives.
Let's see what happened to bring out the caution.
We'll take a look at that here in a moment.
Replays. Yeah, we got the replay of the wreck on the start.
We'll stay here quickly, though, for the 24 for his victory celebration before we look at that replay. But
and there goes Ulysses.
This is going to be interesting, guys. This is something we're going to be talking about a lot next week because, as I mentioned, DeSpirito missed a couple of weeks. The races he did participate in, he had some struggles. He's 37th in points coming into tonight. This win's going to garner him quite a few spots in the standings. But can he mathematically still get into the playoff hunt, or will he go into next week still in a must-win situation? We'll have to wait and see how it all calculates, but this is at least a step in the right direction.
Absolutely.
DeSpirito, this is his 5th race of the season of the 7 races, so he missed 2 races so far, but he will become yet another, the 6th different winner on the season, and the multi-time champion burning it down. And here we go, the signature Joe DeSpirito reverse burnouts here at the start-finish line.
That is impressive right there.
And there went the pace car.
We'll be talking with Joe down in victory lane in just a little bit. Your podium finishers, Mark Paglia gonna get 3rd, or make that 2nd rather, and Rodney, I'll get the names right eventually, Richard Martin is gonna finish in the 3rd position.
Gosh. Oh, we thought this guy knows how to talk.
And Schilling gonna be your top 5. We doing a reverse Polish victory lap now or something? This is new. Oh, no! No!
Oh, there he goes. He's flipped. Oh, but he's back. We're good.
He's back. Oh, man. Talk about a stylish or unstylish finish, depending on your point of view.
Ulysses Sandoval says, I lost my bracket by an inch.
Oh, he did. He definitely... Mangialardi finished 27th, Sandoval 28th, and scoring shows it was 0.02 of a second.
Wow.
Man, that's just typical in superspeedway racing. I don't know what it is, but the bracket drivers always seem to find each other.
It's all right, Ulysses. I'm sure you can win the losers. You can be the best of the losers.
Here's what brought out... Well, it didn't bring out the caution, actually. This was
right at the restart.
Yep. Oh, they
Big
all just
stack
stacked up. Into Donnie Garrett, last week's winner. Glenn Harris caught up as well.
I think this was the 4th incident that Jeffries was involved in. Just a night to forget.
Definitely a tough one there for the driver of the 1 car. Not the run that Garrett was looking for either, coming off the heels of his victory last week. And that didn't bring out the yellow, as we said. Let's see what actually did. They made it back to the white flag, so this had to have occurred on the final lap. And looks like it was over here in 3 and 4. Keith Bynum in the 63. Going to get some assistance from the 7 of Cy Jones. Cy drives it in. Keith thinks he's clear, comes down. They hook the bumpers. And Bynum goes around. Does get it back down to the inside without any oncoming traffic. And that ends the race under yellow, despite the fact that we did indeed race back to the start-finish line for the checkered flag. As we take a look here at the full finishing results now, we gave you that top 5. Schilling's streak remains intact. Grant Wesley going to bring it home in 6th. He needed Nofsker and Schilling to struggle tonight. Schilling in the top 5, Nofsker in the top 10. I think, mathematically now, that will eliminate Grant Wesley from competing for the regular season championship. It's going to come down between the 4 and the 088, who's going to get those 15 bonus points. Kelly Causey's going to finish in 8th. We mentioned Nofsker in 9th. How about Billy Elliser? Great job fighting his way up for a top 10 finish. Bernie Mobbs, he's going to get 11th. Metallic in 12th. Good run for Pat McCarsky. He'll get in the top 15 and 13th. With Dunn LaPrade and Bob Seminara, your top 15. And then you look on down through the remainder of the finishing results. We talked about that battle there with Mangialardi and Ulysses Sandoval for that side of the bracket. The other battle was between Donnie Garrett and Brian Schilling. We saw Garrett caught up in that incident coming to the restart. Schilling finishing top 5. So Schilling will move on to face Mangialardi in the semifinals next week on the winner's side of the bracket challenge.
Take a look at the top 3 finishers. Those are some iconic NASCAR numbers to take the top 3.
Yes, they are. The 24, the 28, and the 43. For Paglia, he comes into this race, I believe he's in the top 12. Yeah, he was the 12th place driver. So really good run for him to give him some breathing space. And then for Demar, he came into this race in 25th. So this will get him at least up into the top 20, and we'll have to see what the math looks like for him to potentially try and point his way up into a playoff position. Remember, Richard Martin is the last driver to win a championship in this series without winning a single race. So a guy that's very good on consistency, and we'll see if the consistency tonight, maybe into next week, will put him into the postseason. But that will take us into our FRN post-race wind-down, and it's time to dial up our podium finishers. We just talked about him. Let's see if we can get a hold of tonight's third-place finisher, Richard Martin. Richard, it's the guys up here in the FRN booth. You got us?
Yes, sir, I do.
Great run for you here tonight. Well-needed run as well. It's been a bit of a struggle this season for the 43 car. Your first top 5 on the year. Couldn't come at a better time. How important was it here tonight to get a good finish, to at least keep yourself in the conversation into next week to try and point your way up into a playoff position?
It'll be very difficult to get into playoffs. I think I was like 25th or something like that coming in. So I don't know. We'll have to see. I'll just have to give it all we can next week and see if we can get another top 5 or even win the thing, to even have a chance. But tonight was a good race, and we really needed it, and just haven't been having much luck lately. The luck has not been there for me.
Had to pass a lot of race cars as well. Started out back, got it caught up in an instant around a halfway, but able to fight your way forward. And we saw here this evening, as typical of this racetrack, all 3 lanes really able to move. You had the right number of cars and the momentum. You were able to make forward progress when you would run into hardships here. Describe, some of the things that I've been noticing here is there's been a bit of an evolvement, it seems, in the lines that work and the lines that don't work. Because I think while we've been talking about Burnt Screwdriver's Raceway being a lot more racy with 3 lanes, it almost looks like now there's been a little bit of a flip reverse where the middle line, when we come to this particular racetrack, always seems to be that preferred line. But now it can flip-flop 50-50 to either being beneficial with helping you move to the front, but it can also be on the opposite side of what we're used to seeing with super speedway racing, where you could be that lone car in the middle and you're going to the back.
Well, tonight, to be honest, it was really racy at 10 for sure in the last lap and a half or 2, but I just kind of made the low line my home, and I was just hoping that, it would go 3 wide, which pretty much knew it was going to. I saw the 088 go up, which I don't know if I would have done that if I was in his position. But anyway, I saw him go up, and then I figured, I even had a better shot of getting the top three. Just pushed Mark real hard, and Joe was in front of Mark, and just pushed them as hard as I could. Yeah, the whole track was, I don't know, it seemed like you could run all over and everything. It was racy all over. A couple of big wrecks I managed to get through, so it was all good tonight.
Now, they've got the points updated, so I'm going to kind of go inside the mind of the driver, and obviously this just spur of the moment. You may end up changing your strategy even as late as when you take the green flag next week at BSR, but you're now up to 20th in points, so if you win next week, you'd be locked into the playoff grid. Also, on the points side, you're only 25 points below that 12th in the standings cut line. I mentioned about your championship season. You ended up winning the whole thing without going to victory lane. Right now, with that type of a scenario, what side of a camp are you in going into next week? Are you looking for the continuing consistency that you had here tonight and try and garner the points to get into that top 12? Or are you looking at next week as a must-win situation?
Kind of both. I'm looking for consistency and to get up into the top 10 and top 5. And, you know, if there's no way clear I can make a move or whatever, I'll just sit there and take whatever. But, if there's an opening, I'm definitely going to go and see what happens.
Well, we look forward to it. Good to see that iconic 43 up there at the front of the field in the closing stages. D-Mark, congrats on your podium finish here tonight. Before we let you go, we'll turn it over to you for thank you sponsors and shout-outs.
Thank you, all the guys in the booth. You and Seth, Michael, and I think Kyle's up there tonight, I heard.
Yep.
And I want to thank Josh for admitting Thursday night as usual. He does a great job. Thanks to Tim and Bones, David Cannon, Jeremy, a bunch of admins I'm probably going to forget, I'm sure. And congratulations to Joe DeSpirito on the win.
Well, that's Richard Martin. He's your third place finisher here tonight. He's got some interesting scenarios to try and make his way into the playoffs next week. Congrats on the job well done tonight. Best of luck next week as you try and make it into the postseason.
Thank you. Hopefully I'll be talking to you guys again next week. Have a good night.
Absolutely. That's Richard Martin, third place here this evening at Talladega Super Speedway. Let's see if now we can get a hold of the driver that brought it home in the second position, and that would be the 28, Mark Paglia.
User was moved to your channel.
Hey, Mark's the guys up here in the Flatout Racing Network booth. You got us?
Yes, sir, Mr. Seth. How you doing?
Oh, man, I'll tell you what. When we come down toward the end of the regular season, we know that the top 12 lock themselves in on points. Probably the driver that has the most pressure down that home stretch is the driver that comes into those races in that 12th position. You were that driver here tonight. You bring it home with a solid second place finish, so now you build a bit of a cushion. How much weight does that take off your shoulders now in preparation for the regular season finale?
It takes a ton of weight off, man. I'll tell you what, this whole race, I was just trying to be, not get wrecked, number one, but I just wanted to find a way to get towards the front because I was desperate for a decent finish. Last week, I got 31st. I was really disappointed in that. So I was sweating bullets here.
Yeah, we've had a number of drivers down there around that cut line of 12th in the standings that have had up and down seasons. You just mentioned that you are one of those drivers. So with having this podium finish here tonight, having that weight off of your shoulders, do you already have a game plan for next week, or does this breathing space maybe give you a little bit of an added cushion to be a little bit more aggressive, try and go out there, finish out the regular season with a victory, garner an extra 5 bonus points? Are you still looking to build off the consistency of tonight?
Well, I'll tell you what, I didn't have a plan until you just designed it for me. So yep, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to get to the front and try to get it, even if there's a caution, I may stay out to get a point or two, and even if that throws me in the back, but I'm going to scrap for every point I can to try to get closer to the front or secure my spot.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of different scenarios here in the closing stages of this race. We go back to the last time we were here, it came down to fuel strategy in the closing stages. Here tonight, it came down to a late race restart. Next week, a track that has provided a lot of good race and a couple of photo finishes this season at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway, going to determine the playoff grid. And, I've mentioned, at least for me personally, it's looked like there's been an evolution of the racing over there. It's gotten a lot more racy. All three lanes have seemed to really find some momentum now. There doesn't seem to be a completely dominant line. With what you've been able to observe from the last couple of previous races we've run at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway, what are you looking at next week in terms of the strategy of where you want to be in order to keep your car clean, keep yourself in the running to be able to get the consistent finish you're looking for?
Well, I listened to all the interviews after the race because I like to pick up other people's strategy, and it seems like there's a consensus that the low line is the safest place to be the first, say, at least half race or maybe 3/4 of the race, because it gives you an exit ramp if something happens in front of you. But that top line is awful inviting, because when you get up there, you got some good pushers, you can fly. So I think I'm going to try to stay safe, stay in the bottom, and try to get with some good people that I feel good racing around and drafting with. And then, when it comes down to that last pit, try to get a good pit, try to get out towards the front wherever I can and stay clean. Being clean is number one. I think that's true for everybody that you interview, but I think the low line is the best place to be for most of the race.
Well, Mark, congratulations on getting the good run when you need it at most. Second place here tonight at Talladega Superspeedway. We'll look forward to seeing if you can hang on to that playoff spot next week and lock yourself into the postseason. Before we let you go, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
Well, first of all, I got to thank Josh and Rodney and all the administrators that put this on for us. Thursday nights are awesome, just a lot of fun. We look forward to it all week to get to that Thursday night race, and those guys make it a quality, event for us. And a shout out to Chuck and Tim and Brian. They helped me through the race, and I work also with Rodney and Kelly and Brian Rossum and Craig Hagley and Greg Palmer. Those guys, we all kind of buddy up together, not only on Thursdays, but on Friday and Saturday or prime. So I want to shout out to those guys. It's really great that they pull me in their little group, and we work with each other. So, and I'll shout out to you guys. You guys do an awesome job. And Seth puts on a heck of a Daytona race last Sunday. Appreciate that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Appreciate a lot of the RTG guys, including yourself, Mark, for coming out and participating in that. But, Mac, best of luck next week, trying to lock up a playoff position. Congrats on your podium finish here tonight.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Seth, man. Have a good night, all.
That's Mark Paglia, second place here this evening. That will be Mark's second top 5 on the season, only his second top 10 as well. For a lot of drivers, it's kind of been feast or famine when it comes to the good finishes here so far in season 64. Let's go down to victory lane. Got to pick the brain of this driver with the current playoff scenario. Gets his first win of the season. Let's dial up Joe DeSpirito.
User was moved to your
Hey,
channel.
Joe, it's the guys up here in the FRN booth. You got a copy?
I got you guys. How you doing?
All right, well, my calculator is working overtime right now. We documented what's been going on so far this season. You've had a string of bad luck, a couple of races missed. A step in the right direction with the victory here tonight, but right now the math shows you 39 points below the 20th position in the standings. Do you see an avenue to be able to get into the postseason if this 24 can dominate next week, get into victory lane?
Probably not, but that's okay. I'm having fun out here, man. I missed a couple races for vacation and feeling under the weather. Got wrecked out of the first race. So a little bit of bad luck here and there. And no, I'm just having fun and just going checkers or wreckers every night. And I wasn't sure if I was going to run tonight. I hopped in last second and got the win. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, and it seems like your MO is whenever we end up seeing you take the checkered flag, you dominate the race in the second half. And as we look at the final finisher results, you led 25 laps there in the second half of this event. Strong machine when you got out in front. Of course, it was kind of interesting. We were talking a lot about fuel before we ended up having that one caution come out that had all of you able to make it the rest of the way. But let's talk about that final restart, because we saw a lot of times up there at the front, depending on who the control car was, some drivers seemed to have some issues on restarts. And I don't know know if that was drivers starting in the wrong gears or if it was just not knowing the timing of when the green flag was going to fly. But how difficult was it for you in terms of the execution, making sure that you and the car you had behind you as your pusher timed the restart perfectly?
Yeah, there was. I don't know if some people were missing gears. It seemed like, yeah, it happened 3 or 4 times tonight. I don't know what was going on with that, but that was something I had to deal with. There was one time when I was in the top. I think I was in fourth, and I redlined it a little too long, so I messed up one time also. But I don't know. That was kind of the theme tonight with the restarts. Just not a very smooth start, but yeah, it was pretty crazy at the end there. I didn't think I would have a chance to win. I thought Tim was going to block the bottom the whole way, and then the seas opened, and I just kind of rode the bottom, and my paisan Mark Paglia pushed me to the win. Pretty good.
So you talk about the fact here, kind of looking at the checkers or wreckers scenario. Obviously, I would assume that would be the thought process heading into next week as well. I mean, unfortunately, as you said, it's not necessarily looking like there's a scenario for you to make it into the postseason. So are we just looking to get as many checkered flags as we can here for the end of the regular season, into the playoffs, and set the tone for season 65?
Absolutely, yeah. I just kept the streak alive, 1 win per season for I don't know how many seasons I got going. My Kyle Busch streak is going. So yeah, just trying to have fun and keep it going and start a new fresh season in the summer months. So it's kind of cool. I race sometimes better this way, just to not worry about the points. But yeah, I'll start fresh next season. But yeah, the whole vacation and me wrecking out the first couple weeks kind of got me off track. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes next season.
Well, hey, we've heard from a lot of drivers the tunnel vision, just having the one goal, not having to worry about this scenario or that scenario or points or positioning or all that kind of stuff. It makes it a lot easier for them as well. So with that mindset, it's going to be a lot of fun to see what you're able to do here for not only next week's regular season finale, but the remainder of the season heading into the playoffs as well. May see this 24 car in victory lane a time or two more before the season comes to a close. But Joe, congratulations on the victory. It was good to see the reverse burnouts again here at Talladega. And before we let you get back to your celebrating, we'll let you have the opportunity for victory lane. Thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
Thanks, guys. I want to thank you guys at FRN. I want to thank guys at RTG, the admins, Josh, Tim, and Rodney. I want to thank Rodney. He ran good with me tonight. I want to thank Mark and Demar on the bottom for the pushing at the end. And thank my teammates, Mobs Motors. I want to thank everybody watching at home, my work buddies, Dan, LC, and some of the sponsors tonight. Ultimate Garage Floors, the Dixon Brothers, and again, Mark Paglia. Thanks, guys.
Joe DeSpirito picks up the victory here tonight. Sixth different winner to go to victory lane here in season 64, and he'll be looking for back-to-back next week to close out the regular season. Congrats on the victory tonight. Go and enjoy it. Best of luck here down the remainder of the season.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
So Joe DeSpirito with the victory. As we heard from him, doesn't look like he's going to mathematically have a shot at being in the playoffs, but there are a lot of drivers that still do. We talked about what the gap was of drivers just inside of the top 12 to just outside of the top 12. The points are in, as I said. The RTG admin's very efficient in making sure we have that information before we go off the air. And right now, Mike Mangialardi, he dropped a couple of spots. He is the 12th place driver. You look from him down to just 20th in the standings. 25 points is the difference. That's a bunch of drivers that still have a shot that even if they don't get a win next week, a top 5 could maybe get them a last-minute points-paying position into the playoffs.
All it's going to take is place after place and point after point. You would get these good, consistent runs. You'll be able to get it. So it'll be interesting to see how this is going to happen with just one race to go.
Boy, next week should be exciting. I thought the aggression level went up tonight. It's going to be even bigger next week.
Absolutely. We already know a handful of drivers that are going to be locked in on victories. We'll update next week, see if there are some drivers that may already be locked in on points. but as of right now, there's a good dozen drivers that could easily point their way in or fall out. And there's also a good half dozen drivers or so that could win their way into the playoffs just below that 30th or that 20th in the standings cut line. We'll update you on all those scenarios next week when we get ready to run the regular season finale at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway next Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You're not going to want to miss it. Wild one here tonight sees Joe DeSpirito go to victory lane at Talladega Super Speedway. I want to thank Michael and Kyle for joining me up here in the booth tonight. And thank you to everybody for tuning into our coverage. Next time you'll see us Wednesday night, we'll be bringing you coverage of the Esports Oval League Grind Cup Series as they take to the Atlanta Motor Speedway, the Legacy Atlanta, continuing on their regular season. Already 4 different drivers have gone to victory lane in the first 4 races. Will we see a 5th? And then we'll see you right back here Thursday night for the continuation of the 64th season of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series. But until then, for Kyle Matthews, Michael Norman, I'm Seth Cole. Thanks for joining us here this evening. We'll see you guys next week as you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of FRN, the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's